Alright fellas, here we are back in Pokemon Masters, and so today here we're going to be taking a look at the new BP, Lusamine, and Lilligant sync pair. I wouldn't say new, she's like 2 weeks old at this point, if not 2.5. This is going to be a bit of a different showcase, as I'm going to be doing it more in a live style, which I used to do like back, not 2 years ago, because my channel's not even 2 years old yet, but like 1.5 years ago I used to do that type of content. Not really anymore. I tend to record my battles, voice over them, yada yada, make the showcase look the best. But for this character specifically, I wanted to do some like live testing, I guess, of how this character performs, because to me this character's got some problems. She's a free character, which is great, right? We get more free characters, more free options, always amazing for good, it's always good stuff. But when I tend to look at how a free character performs, I tend to look at them and see, okay, what niche do they fill that other characters can't fill? And for Lusamine, she does technically have one, but it's so minor that I honestly just think it is never really ever going to be worth using her over Brendan. Simply because Brendan's got better offensive stats, especially once he got his Mega Evolution. He's got the same damaging option with Leaf Storm. He does have to run Dauntless, but that doesn't end up being that big of a deal. But he's also got better multipliers with Inertia being a lot easier to activate than all of Lusamine's multipliers. He's got Charging Sun as well, Ramming Speed, off of, again, a very high offensive stat with very good self-sufficiency. While for me, Lusamine, the only thing she does that is notable is Setting Sun. Setting Sun's fine and all, because again, her multipliers rely on it. A lot of grass types use Sun, but we also have another amazing free Sun abusing grass type in the form of Signusuit Erica. I don't really like to completely crap on a lot of characters, and I'm not going to do that here. But with how Lusamine is set up and how I've used her, I just see her, unless you EX her and whatnot, level 150, give her super powered or something as lucky skill, really give her as much as she can get, and of course run her with amazing partners like Mixed Red, Signusuit Acerola, Datamine, whoever else, right? I just don't see a whole lot of amazing usage for her when options like Brendan, Signusuit Erica, and even Gardenia exist, simply because I'm honestly seeing better usage and mileage out of them than I am out of this Lusamine, even despite the fact that she's got self-sufficiency in her buffing, she's got confusion with Teeter Dance, and also Setting Sun. So I could record 4 different battles against some Grass Week stages with different teams, using Mallow to set Confusion, or using Signusuit Erica to set Sun, or using her with overpowered partners like Datamine and Mixed Red and whatnot. But really, I just want to do this to kind of convey my point. And I don't want to call her bad, outright. I don't think there's a reason to, because she can still clear the content. She does it fine enough. But it's just for a new free character, I tend to look at what niche do they have that they can fulfill that other characters can't. Like BP Rose, he's not, he's a really solid free character. He's got flinches, he's got defense debuffing, he's got defense buffing, he's got amazing self-sufficiency, and that self-sufficiency is one of the biggest things about him that I like a lot, even if he may lack in other regards. Lusamine, I just don't see a whole lot of big mileage out of her. Her offensive stat is not great unless EX'd, right? It's worse than Gardenia's. Gardenia's got a 400 plus offensive stat. Her Setting Sun ability is fine, but if you are not running her under the infinite field effects parameter, which we do have activated here, she is also lacking in that regard. And the Confusion being a multiplier base means you are going to be having to reset up Confusion when the enemies lose it, right? So those are just a few things to note that is really not helping her. She does have multipliers like Charging Sun 5 here, as well as Confusion Synergy 3, 80% multipliers. Brendan's also got 80% multipliers, keep that in mind. And then Fuzzy Strike for a Sync Nuke multiplier. She's also got Solar Flare 5, but I want to really stress, she's got some good multipliers. Confusion Synergy 3, Double Down 3, 4 Sync Nodes, and Solar Flare 5. But notice the grid position. These positionings are horrible. Solar Flare, you have to pick up Sunny Day Move Gauge Refresh, or Solar Shield / Speeding Sun, or Healing Sun. All of these, and you have to get all the way up to here, right? Hit opponent, interference opponent, super effective next, which I actually opted to pick up. You have to go a very roundabout method of getting a Sync Node and whatnot, or you have to pick up Teeter Dance Gauge Refresh. Not really that great of a node. And for Double Down, you have to either pick up Move Gauge Refresh and Leaf Storm, or go around and get it this way. Point is, a lot of her tiles are very are spread very far apart, so you're definitely not getting all of her sync tiles plus her sync node stuff, and you're 100% not getting all of her DPS stuff on and then being able to like make a lot of value out of it. Like you can get interference sync, interference super effective next and confusion synergy just fine, but after that, what else are you gonna get? Because you don't have nearly enough stuff to get good sync stuff out of her. So I literally just picked up Double Down. Like, she does have Fuzzy Strike innate, so we got 80% sync nuke multipliers, but this grid is not at all fluid, as opposed to, like, even Gardenia's, which is not that great, but it's a bit more fluid, and Brendan's, which is similarly fluid, right? Like, it's a lot easier to get in their multipliers and whatnot. This is a DPS grid with Gardenia that also has Grand Entry picked up. It's got Charging Stun right down here, and Super Duper Effective 2 right up here. These are also very split apart, which is not great, but also, like, if you want to pick up, I think, oops, let's see. Let's just go with like this grid, her sync nuke grid. This has got all of its multipliers mostly like all together here, and you can get both sync nodes, you can get all that. You can get all the sync stuff just fine. All of it. Again, not really the case with Lusamine, especially if you also want to pick up better DPS stuff, which she does need with her lower offensive stat and whatnot, right? So that's just one thing. But I don't know. I don't want to really stall this out much longer. Let's just hop into the battle, and you can kind of see what I mean here. All right, so I accidentally had the wrong grid with what's her face, Gardenia, so had to fix that up a little bit. Anyway, let's just see here. Under all this enhancement, quote all this enhancement. I mean, it's not really a whole lot of enhancement. Under like, Gardenia's, the Morgan's passive and all, again, triple grass, whatever. How does Lusamine perform with these partners? And also, how does Gardenia form as a good look at it? Because you got to consider Gardenia is a free option, an option since release. And if Lusamine does not perform that much better than Gardenia, then like, I'm not going to say what is the point of her existing, because, I mean, you're still going to be able to get usage out of a lot of characters, and it's also a pairing that, people wanted, yada, yada, whatever. But it's just the fact that a character like this might not perform nearly as well as should be is a little bit... yikes, right? Like, whatever. So, this is with super effective next. Like, we do have that also to kind of work around here with Lusamine. So, 7,000 damage. With the super effective next, it is good. But that's also at a 40% rate. And there's Gardenia, like, 3,800 without super effective next. So, I also really just want to see how much can Lusamine do without having the super effective next active, which is what we're going to see here next, right? So, this is without super effective next stuff picked up. Lusamine is doing 4,400 damage, where Gardenia is doing 4,000 damage, right? So it's like a 400-point difference there, and that's pretty worrying, especially because, again, this is without either character being EX, because Gardenia does gain quite a bit from her EX, so does Lusamine. There we go. There's the KO. 4,500 on the middle. Lusamine's probably going to do far more, because this is also a side. 5,600. Gardenia... 4,800, so the damage difference gets to be about a 800-point difference. So Lusamine does perform quite a bit better than Gardenia in terms of overall DPS, and this is with them both pretty much with all of their DPS multipliers enabled, the Confusion Synergy on Lusamine, the Charging Sun, Critical Strike, and then Gardenia also having Charging Sun 3, I think, and then Super Duper Effective 2. So they're working with what they've got. The thing with Gardenia is that she has to run Dauntless as well, so despite the fact that she's got higher offensive stat, and that's kind of what I'm getting at here, is that Gardenia's got less multipliers and a slightly higher offensive stat with like 40-point difference, but Lusamine's got 80% multipliers? No, 100% multipliers, right? Confusion Synergy 3, Charging Sun 5, Critical Strike 2. 100% DPS multipliers, and she's barely performing better than a character that's got 50% multipliers. That's a little yikes. I mean, and again, I want to look here. What is Brendan going to be putting up compared to her? I do need to probably build Brendan with some speed stuff, because he does also have he's also got Dauntless, whatever else. We got ramming speed there, inertia. I want to see Charging Sun, ramming speed, inertia. Sure, we'll run under this, and we'll run the same stuff. And also this is with like improper skill gear. Actually, that skill gear is just fine for this. That was an accident. Okay, whatever. So the skill gear is fine. I didn't actually know that. I never actually set skill gear for that. Oh, it's because I used this for a grass week battle last time. Whatever, anyway. I don't want to say that, like, if she does around the same as Brendan here, that she's, like, fantastic, great, or even just, like, bad either. Because, I don't know. It's just, this type of character existing, she needs a lot. She needs these different multipliers activated. She needs confusion. Like, the only reason that Sun is not nearly as bad of a thing to activate as it is right now is simply because we've got the infinite field effects, and we've got the confusion and the ability to set confusion. But in a lot of instances, if she needs confusion, she's gonna have to reset that up a lot of times. If you need sun, you're gonna have to reset that up, and you're gonna have to run a partner like again, Signacidia, Erica, Datamine, Signacidia, Sorolla, or even like a fire type or whatever. You're gonna need to do all that. That should KO. Yes, goodbye. And she has a lot of maintenance needs, right? Where Brendan can do that, but he also can utilize a good support for that purpose. So you're 7,000 damage with super effective next. Brendan 4,600 of damage without super effective next. How much does Lusamine do without super effective next here? Like really, what are we looking at here for damage? Like what is this really doing? 4,700. Brendan 4,600. So she is legitimately doing, a little bit more damage than Brendan is pre-mega, because Brendan's also got what's better than her. He's also got the mega evolution, which I probably should have synced with Brendan there just to showcase that, him having the mega evolution active, but whatever. He's also got an easier to activate sync nuke as well. That's another big thing about him. The speed buffs is not that big of a deal to worry about. The offensive stat more than makes up for the fact a lot of the times of like the damage you're able to do. There we go, KO. I'm just gonna let the battle finish. He's a lot easier to activate. He just needs sun and speed buffs, which a lot of characters are able to provide, where Lusamine needs confusion, she needs sun, she needs, obviously, the offensive enhancement, but also the confusion and sun is the big things, which she can provide, but the fact that she has to provide those while also trying to do damage with Leaf Storm is not great. And again, combined with the fact that all of her multipliers are so spread out on the grid, it's going to be hard to really try and maximize, like, oh, I can get all my damage and I can get all my nuking stuff, which would be a really big help for her. Like, if she could do that, I think it might be a different case, but everything is spread out Champion Nate style, and it's just not that fantastic for her grid. Like, her grid is kind of a mess, all things considered. And it's just really something that I'm not the biggest fan of with this character. Like, obviously, she's going to be good for she's another option for the gauntlet. Like, she's got the ability to do damage there. And, or, like, I guess be sufficient there or whatever. She can apply sun for, dealing with Terrakion gimmicks, or, confusion to deal with Yuxi gimmicks, or something like that. Like, she can do all that stuff, and that's fantastic. And should, I guess, be super effective against the first bar of Regirock, but I'm not really sure if that's too worth noting, considering the last two bars. Anyway, it's just not... It's something I'm very conflicted on. At the very least, that's what I can say, is that I'm very conflicted on this character, like existing, because I can see a lot of value in free characters outside of the gauntlet being good for, new players fighting the Champion Stadium. The amount of multipliers that Lusamine needs, in terms of, and also, what partners, you can reliably run with her to help her clear, a Grass Week stage, it's a whole lot more maintenance, I think, than if you were to just run Brendan instead, or, again, run even, Gardenia, because, the confusion is a big one there. You need to have, the status changes and all of that. You need to be able to actually apply the confusion. Again, she also sets the sun herself, which you can bring a support to set the sun as well, but, again, same regard. If you're bringing a support to set the sun, then you could also just opt to use, instead, Gardenia or Brendan. And that's just one of the big things about this. I don't really like crapping on characters, and I also like Lusamine a lot. I like Lusamine and Lilligant both in terms of characters in Pokemon, but it's just this character, when I went to go initially try and showcase them, I'm like, okay, I really thought this would have been a little bit better, because considering all of her multipliers again, she's got Charging Sun 5, she's got Confusion Synergy 3, and she's got Critical Strike 2, yet she was barely really doing more damage than what Brendan was doing pre-Mega, and again, that's... Brandon again, also Brandon's EX in this instance, and level 150. But still, post-Mega Evolution, his offensive stat jumps a lot. So, I don't know, and he's also got a better nuke on top of it, or at the very least, a more easy to activate nuke. And a lot of Lusamine's good damage comes from that super effective next, which is fine. For one, it's a 40% chance, and for two, to pick it up, you have to sacrifice a lot of your nuking stuff or some of your DPS stuff, neither of which is nearly at all fantastic. Where Brendan can pick up both his nuking and damaging options just fine. I don't know, whatever. Again, I don't really like making these type of videos where I just live record all this stuff. I even had to cut out some stuff here because I ended up making a few mistakes and I did not really need that to be in the video. But I just wanted to try and convey the point that Lusamine, character you can use, she'll clear the stage fine. As you saw, she cleared Wallace without really much issue, and that was with lower tier partners without, any higher tier options like Mixed Red, Datamine, Signacidia, Sorolla, whatever. Or even better supports like Iono or Champion Blue or whoever else. And she can clear these, grass weak stages. You can even clear off type with better partners, but it's just, I don't know. I don't really see a lot of her purpose in existing, frankly, and other than just being another option to have. And I guess maybe a lot of people can see that with a lot of other characters, but I tend to be someone who tries to at least look a lot and see like what this character can do to really kind of differentiate themselves and at least be like really strong and very helpful in that regard. Because if the character's just like really strong, despite the fact that they're not like maybe the best in their tier or whatever, if they're simple to use and they're easy to use, very strong, then they're also going to have a usage there because that just means that they're easy to use. That's also something that's worth considering in my opinion. But Lusamine is neither easy to use nor is she super impressive even under all of her, multipliers and whatnot, and that's not that great. Whatever. Anyway, let me know how all that goes, I guess. I will be doing summons for him as well. I don't know if I'll be doing any more VP unit showcases or not. I also have to think about it. I've got some other things I need to do and some videos to record, edit, all that stuff. So I gotta really be on my game about that. We're trying to focus on maybe doing some VP showcases. I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just combine Cheryl and Will's. We'll see. I don't know. I'll see y'all later. I hope y'all enjoyed.